Because for me, being settled is when you have more savings than the expenses. Kia ora, mabuhay!
Welcome na and welcome to
Fika with Tin
and Glee.
How are you? It's
I'm-
been a week again.
Yeah, I know. It was a not so nice weekend.
Why?
It was just because of the weather, but
That's
was
right.
yeah, it's nothing bad. It's just the weather. I mean, I could have enjoyed the sunny weather, but because it's winter, so it was
Yeah.
a bit cold.
Well, at least we are here again to share some thoughts
Yes.
and some learnings.
Yes, from our own experiences. And today's topic is about settling
Settling, yes.
in a new country. By the way, are you settled now here after a year of staying in Auckland?
I can't really say because we just moved from a house that we were renting. So we are trying to settle down here for 3 months.
Okay. So where were you before?
We lived in a full house in Penrose.
Okay.
So that's like 30 minutes away from the city now.
Okay.
So I don't think that we are fully settled down yet.
Not
I
yet,
think it
uh-huh.
will like be in a year or so before I can finally say that we are settled down. Because for me, being settled is when you have more savings than the expenses.
Okay. So you have a different concept of
Yeah,
settling.
more savings than expenses. And
I
I mean,
see.
if you already have everything that you need in your house, I think that's what settle down means.
Okay.
How
Well,
about you?
yeah, in my case, I wouldn't say I'm completely settled. But then, because this was not really a new thing for me, moving to a new place. So it was easier for me this time. And it feels like I'm almost settled because
Is it because of
the community around me.
community?
You know what? If I compare to Sweden, it took time for me to meet fellow Filipinos and to create new friends, given the culture itself.
And in here, in just less than 2 months, you
Yes.
already have a podcast.
Yeah, that quick, right? And I got to know lots of groups, Filipino groups.
That's
I've
right.
met many Filipinos, even Maori people, the local people here,
Yeah.
and it helped me settle in New Zealand
Yeah.
quickly. Although I'm still looking for the right career, but anyway, that one is easy. I mean, it's another aspect, but I would say I'm almost settled here.
That's really nice to hear.
Yes.
And
of course.
I mean, you've been here for less than 2 months.
Less
and
than 2 months.
You can already say that. Good for you.
Yes, and I'm really happy. I'm really glad here. But you know what? I'm thinking for the other listeners out there, when they move to a new country, I think settling is a difficult task for them, right?
That's right.
Because there are so many factors involved when you want to settle in a new country. What do you think are some of the reasons that you need to take into consideration to settle?
Well, for me, I will base it on my experience, how I really am trying to settle down here. Before I came here, I already looked for properties, like rental properties here. So I think that's also like a big decision, a difficult task to
Yes,
do, since you have to look if you're going to rent a full house or just an apartment,
Yes,
or where do you really want to settle in a place. Because I mean, the country is really big and you really don't know because you haven't been there. I mean, I haven't been here, so I
Yes,
really don't know which city should I really settle in.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the difficult tasks when you're trying to settle.
Yeah, actually, in our case, we really want to first move to the central area because we're not familiar with the other places.
Yeah.
And, you know, the job that my partner got is located in the central area. So
Yeah.
that's the reason why we didn't do any research if we want to find a house outside
Yeah.
the central area. It wasn't difficult. We decided we will stay in the central area and maybe feel if this place is really for us.
Yeah, that's
Because we did some research and they said it's a bit unsafe, but I don't think so.
right. I also don't think so. I mean,
Yes.
we both live
We
in
both-
the city.
Yes,
So
it's still safe, pretty safe
Yes.
here.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most important factors as well, the community. We are both lucky enough that we actually know someone who's already here during our settling.
Yeah,
In the
mhm.
first few months of us being here.
That's right.
Like for example, for me, when we came here, we stayed with my mom-in-law. It really made everything easier. So yeah, community, family friends.
Members, yeah. And I would say because my previous teacher in high school is settled here in Auckland, then it was also quick for me to get new friends, new connections, because my teacher let me introduce me rather to some Filipinos who are settled here.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I got to know you.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, because of my teacher in high
Yes.
school.
I mean, for our listeners who really don't know anyone from the country that you are moving into when you're trying to settle down,
You know,
what are the advice that you can give to?
I mean, Facebook is out there. You know, you can just do your own research. You can find groups. If you want to find your own fellow Filipinos and maybe Filipinos in New Zealand or in Stockholm or whatever place or wherever you are right now, you can search groups
Facebook
and
groups,
join. And there are also other private websites like Meetup and
What is that?
It's an app where you can find different activities. Like if you're interested in running, so you can search running in a specific place, like running in Auckland. So if you're interested in movies, then you can find such group in
That's
that
nice.
website. Yes.
I've never heard of that.
Well, now you know.
Now I know. Now we know.
Yes. So
That's a really
Meetup,
good-
Meetup.
Ah.
Yes. And there are others out there.
Yes, that's right.
The local municipalities. If you want to know more about the activities in your area, then contact your local government units, your local municipalities, and definitely they will give you more information. They will be willing to help you so that you can adjust easily and settle in your new place.
Yes, that's right. So we are really talking about the community, the friends, the family, trying to settle.
Yeah, social life.
Yeah, social life, and that's really important.
It is.
Yes, because you will be really needing a lot of help when you're trying to settle down in a country.
Especially if you are alone.
Yes, that's right.
What about accounts? You know,
Accounts,
bank
yes.
accounts.
I think that's the basic things that you really need to put in mind. So bank accounts,
Yeah.
finances.
Yes, salary. I think there are several rules and regulations depending on the country where you want to open your account from. But you have to ask the bank
Yeah.
specifically and they will give you the details. Visa is of course needed, right?
Yeah.
If you are new in a country,
Yeah.
they would ask for your visa and then of course personal details.
Yeah.
And passport
Yes.
is needed and other things. I mean, it depends on the bank.
Also, their tax.
Yeah.
The local taxes.
Tax number, yes.
Tax numbers.
Of course, yeah. That's
Yeah.
very important. You need.
And looking for your place.
Yeah, I mean, we've mentioned before that even prior to moving to a new country, you should have done your own research.
Yeah.
Check where is best for you. If you're a family, then of course it would be better if you rent a big place, a house, compared to us
Yeah.
who are just a couple. We can just live in an apartment, a condominium.
I think that's one of the tips that I can give you since I learned this lesson from experience. I mean, from when I was in the Philippines, I kept looking for apartments, and then when I came here from my mother-in-law, we moved to a full like a whole house.
Yeah.
So the difference is the whole house was unfurnished.
Okay.
So we had to buy everything that we need for
Yeah.
the whole house. So it was a bit costly. Unlike if we started here, I mean, if we moved here in the first place
To a fully furnished
to a
one.
fully furnished one, then we could have saved more. There are things that you really need to consider when you're really looking for a place.
But it's a learning experience.
It's a learning, yeah.
And I think to our listeners out there, to our viewers, if you happen to rent a property or a place where it's unfurnished, there are many websites where you can buy secondhand items.
Yeah.
You don't need to buy new pieces of furniture, but rather
Yeah,
old ones,
that's right.
secondhand ones, and some are given for free, right? From
That's
Facebook
right.
pages.
That's right.
It's incredible. They're giving it for free, but these are functional items.
That's right. I'll give you a good example. Best example of that is when we purchased our bed.
Mm-hmm.
It cost around like 1,000.
Yeah.
And then when I started looking at Facebook Marketplace, the second hands are just around 300. So I mean, if you really compare, I mean, the quality of that 300 is
Way better.
Yeah, I mean, not way better, but almost the same as the brand new one. So if you're really looking for something where you can save more
Yes.
for the meantime when you're settling, because when you're trying to settle down, the best thing you can do is to save as much as you can.
Yes, unless you're ultra rich, right? You
Yes,
don't care about
unless.
money. Well, I really agree that Facebook Marketplace is one of the best websites that you can check secondhand items from, because I also did the same thing
Yeah.
in Sweden and even here.
Yeah.
But there are again other local websites, like here in New Zealand. There's Trade Me, and yes, you
Yeah.
can really save a lot of money. It all boils down to sustainability, right?
That's
You don't
right.
want to buy new things. Some items can be reused and can be used not only once
That's
or not
right.
only twice, but rather many times. So
Right.
it would be best if you put these into use.
So aside from the renting, of course, have it in your mind as well the surroundings. Like if the place that you're renting is close to everything that you need, that you will
Yes.
be needing. I mean, if you need like a laundry store, then make sure that you're close to a laundry
Grocery
Yeah,
store.
grocery.
That's one of the
the
things.
essentials. If you have kids, if it's near
Schools.
close,
Yeah.
close to schools
That's
that you
right, true.
want for your kids.
Hospital. If you're
Hospitals.
sickly, then you may
Yes.
want to rent near a hospital.
Have that in your mind.
And to add to this, if you're settling in a new country, I think it's really best, this one I've mentioned in the previous episode, to learn the language. If English is not the language spoken in the new country you move to, then it will be challenging to read rules and regulations if
Yeah.
you don't understand it, right?
Yes.
So visit your local community, local municipality,
Yeah.
ask where you can learn the language, and that will really help you settle in a new country.
That's right. And also not, I mean, if you are coming from a country that English is not your first language,
Yes.
you can also try to learn the English language.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Like for example, if you're from China, then you
Or
move to a
you're
new...
Philippines, right? From
Yeah.
Philippines, and English is not really your first.
You're not used to
You're
it.
not used to it.
Then yeah, there are
Yeah.
many agencies, local churches are there to help you learn the language.
That's right. Like last time, right? We saw this.
Yes, an organization.
Yeah, organization. So there are organizations who are actually willing to give free courses,
Yes.
free language courses.
English, right?
So try to look for one. Job wise, on the other hand,
Yeah.
there are a lot of job sites
Yes.
available already. So
Oh, a
it's
lot.
really not that hard. And also, I think governments in each country has job fairs.
Yes, Careers Expo. Oh, I visited.
Yes.
I think 2 weeks ago, I visited a Careers Expo, and yeah, it was really helpful because I got many contacts.
Yeah, again, ask Mr. Google.
Yes, Mr. Google knows everything. You just search what website is available in your country.
Yeah,
Like
that's
here in New Zealand, it's seek.nz. It's like Job Street in
Job
Philippines
Street,
or
yeah.
Jobs DB. But there are not thousands, but there are a lot of websites you can choose from.
For artists, musicians out there, you can also check Star Now. Star Now is like type of Seek.
Ah,
So
okay.
there are also job listings for musicians or artists, creators. So that's also like a good start for you.
That's a helpful
Find your
one.
agencies as well.
Yeah.
Agencies can also help you find job opportunities for you.
Basically, knowing the right people as well through connections.
Yes,
Again,
that's right.
It all boils down to getting social network.
Community.
Community.
Yeah, so I think for you, that's the most important factor for you
It
to
is.
say that you're settled.
Yes, so I wouldn't say I'm completely settled, but yes, because of the community, the people I'm surrounded with, then I feel settled in this new place.
All right, so I think we're all settled down here.
Yes.
In our podcast. So settling can be really difficult. It can be really emotional draining.
Yeah, I agree.
And you know, emotional stress, the anxiety,
Depression.
homesickness can be really, really, really hard to deal with.
Yes, it is a tough one.
For us, for migrants like us,
Yeah.
we've experienced it. I've experienced it myself. You have experienced
Yes.
it, right? So, I mean, not just moving from country to another, but also life in general, right? So, in our next episode,
Yeah.
we will be kind of moving from one country to another, but we will tackle mental health this time.
Yes, about well-being. Yeah, so I think for our viewers and our listeners, please
Follow us on our social media accounts: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter,
Spotify.
YouTube. We are everywhere again. So this is us, Anything Under the Sun, Fika with Tin.
And Glee.
See
See
ya!
ya.